Hey, Kira, how you doing? Oh, woo. Okay, the auto exposure is being a little weird, but that shouldn't be too bad. Hey, Knitting Samurai. Yeah, could you hear me? Yeah. There are some aspects of the audio that you should hear and some that you shouldn't at the moment, but you should be able to hear me. Uh, so if you can't, I'm expecting you guys to be like, I can't hear you. And if you can, please put that in the chat. Wolfman just says yes. Okay. All right. That's good. That's something. Now, I guess we're waiting for other things to happen. Do, do, do. Okay. I see seeing more yeses. So, how's everyone doing? Hey, Brian. Brian Falsifer. Let's see. Kira says, not bad. Just got my new comm in and kind of in a good mood. By comm, I think you mean computer. I've been in an up and down mood, like I often am, but like, oh man, that was almost bad. I don't even know what started it. I don't even know what started it, but my guess is that there was an interruption in my med cycle a few weeks back, and maybe it just kind of caught up with me. Oh, commission. Oh, you commissioned someone to do a new avatar for you. Oh, sweet. Got it. Got it. All right. Now, if I'm doing it right, you guys are not hearing music, correct? Because if you're hearing music, I need to know that. As part of the test. Yeah. If there is no music, that's good. If you're hearing music, that's bad. Nothing much. Just sorting my Pokemon cards, getting ready for a trip to Canada. Oh, what takes you up to Canada? Is there a con happening up there? No music. Awesome. Okay, we're good. Just watch a Deadstream. Oh, Deadstream's great. That movie is so fun. That movie is so fun. If you like the actress that plays the female lead in that, then you need to watch VHS 99 because she appears in the last segment as a character you will never fucking forget. I I don't want to spoil it for you, but she is amazing in that segment. Like you will never forget that character. Oh, Deadstream. Deadstream goes completely off the rails. It's so fun. You know, it's like it's a little the only problem I have with it is if you live in the world of like streaming and YouTube, it's a little dated, but only because the face of the streaming douchebag has changed a little bit. Oh yeah, give VHS. Yeah, the one that the actress from Deadstream shows up in is called VHS 99. The VHS series as a whole kind of goes like this. One is really good. The first section of the first segment of the first one is fantastic. It's really ghoulishly fun. I love it. So the first VHS is pretty good, is good. Good and solid. The second one, the first segment is amazing. It's about like a guy that like is filming a cult in the Philippines. It's either the Philippines or Indonesia. That segment is fantastic. That was done by the guy who directed The Raid. If you've seen that movie, and it's fantastic. Unfortunately, it also has like it's not as consistently good as the first one, but it has a bigger high. The lows are they're not that bad. You know, like the first one, the lows are not that bad. Second one, the lows are not that bad, but the second one has the heights. But the first one's way more consistently good. The third one is dog shit. With the exception of one section that is kind of fun. It involves a teleporter. But it's not that great. And then for a while, because that was VHS Viral, and because VHS Viral wasn't that good, they kind of shelved the series for a bit. And then a few years ago, they came out with what was it? Was it VHS Rewind? Hold on, I gotta check it out. VHS 94. Yeah, they did one called VHS 94, which had had highs and lows. Like, they're really good ones, but they're also really kind of not very, some shit ones. VHS 99 is the most consistently good one they did since the first one. And the last one, the last segment of 99 is fantastic. So apparently they're doing a VHS 85 sometime later this year that's coming out, but I have no idea where we are with that. Because these are now kind of made for Shudder. We don't always know when they're going to drop. Because what Shudder did for the last two VHSs is they did like a blitz a week before drop. But before that, they didn't tell anybody anything was happening. Yeah, Kids, the short that inspired Kids versus Aliens, I believe, happens in VHS 2. Yeah, Slumber Party Alien Abduction by Jason Eisner. Yeah, it was the last one in 2. And, oh, really? Safe Havens was the third one? I thought it was the first one. Huh. Okay, so my point is in VHS 2, Safe Havens is Slumber Party Alien Abduction. Safe Havens is the height. Slumber Party Abduction is pretty good. The other three are kind of meh. In VHS Viral, Vicious Circles is kind of forgettable. Dante the Great, you wonder, you're like, why is this even here? It's really bad. Parallel Monsters is all right, and yeah. Yeah, in VHS 94, like, I think it's Storm Drain. Yeah, there's Holy Hell and then Storm Drain. I forget which one. I'm pretty sure Storm Drain is the one that has Ratma in it. And VHS 99, yeah, To Hell and Back is the one that's got the actress from Deadstream. It's technically also got the lead actor from Deadstream. It's got him too, but he's the camera guy, so you don't see him that much, but he does appear. Yeah, the last segment of 99 was done by the same people who did Deadstream, and it's got that same sense of humor. Yeah, we don't know what 85 is going to be. Like, we have some, like, we don't even have section titles. All we have are directors. You know, yeah, we know David Bruckner's back. Scott Derrickson's got a section. I'm looking forward to that. Um, let's see. It's got a section by Gigi Saul Guerrero, who did who hasn't, like, this will be like not exactly her first directing gig. She did the movie Bingo Hell, if you remember that, if you saw that one. You know, the other thing that she was in, that she had a segment in that you might have seen but probably didn't, was Mexico Barbaro, or Barbaro, which was a Mexican anthology movie. It's weird because it wasn't too. Mexico Barbaro wasn't bad, but I don't remember a lot of it, even though I've seen it. So, you know, that's like, oh, you know, it's kind of like a. I mean, nothing about it sucked. It didn't suck. It just didn't. It didn't grab you, which is too bad. You know, because it was a subject I thought was great, and actually some of the ideas were really good. It just wasn't like. It didn't dazzle me. It's probably the worst thing it didn't dazzle me is the worst thing I could say about it, but it also wasn't like a waste of time either. But yeah, she would be the least experienced director in VHS 84, 85. Everyone else, everyone else is kind of a known quantity. Oh wait, no. There's another one. There's another one. Natasha Kermani. Yeah, Natasha Kermani and Gigi Salguero are the kind of slightly unknown quantities here as far as the audience is concerned. I'm sure there's a reason they were good enough to be in the anthology in the first place. I mean, I doubt they're going to suck. Also, the director of the Wrong Turn that was done in 2021, the one that's like not really a reboot, not really a remake, but it's like it just basically has the same theme as Wrong Turn, but it's completely different. It's actually really good. Yeah, that guy's got a segment in it too. I actually really liked Wrong Turn 2021. I mean, it has nothing to do with anything from the previous movies other than someone takes a wrong turn. You know, it does have an evil cannibal family, but it's a completely different one. It's also the longest of the Wrong Turn movies, but that's not a bad thing. And it's got way more twists and turns than a Wrong Turn movie usually has. You know, you will not necessarily be able to predict where this movie, what's going to happen next in Wrong Turn 2021. Is one of the things I loved about it. Because in the original Wrong Turn, that was not a movie that was supposed to like surprise you with its amazing twists, you know? Like, oh my God, we're being killed by cannibal mutants, and that's pretty much Wrong Turn, you know? No, in the new one, they are not inbred mutants, or at least they are not explicitly inbred mutants. It's a cult. It is a Nordic-based cult that's like, I believe, in the Appalachians. So you still got that part of it, you know, where like you're out in the middle of like fucking nowhere. Yeah, no inbred super mutants. Yeah, probably the best way of saying is they're not mutants. They are a very, very, very like deadly cult. But you're not going to be able to predict where this shit goes because there's a lot that happens in that movie. To say anything else would give it away. Would give some shit away, but it's really good. Oh, Wrong Turn 2 is probably the best of the original Wrong Turn movies. That was the one done by fuck. It's one of my favorite directors. Hold on. Adam Green and Joe Lynch. Yeah, it was directed by Joe Lynch. That's the one with Henry Rollins in it, right? Or is that the third one? I can't remember which one had Henry Rollins in it. It was either 2 or 3. Yeah, okay. Wrong Turn 2, Dead End, directed by Joe Lynch. Yeah, that is my favorite of the original series. It is the most fun. You know? Oh, you never saw Wrong Turn 2? Wrong Turn 2 is great. Like, you don't have to work. Don't bother watching any other Wrong Turn. Don't bother with 3 or 4. You know, they're pretty bad. But 2 is great, and Wrong Turn 2021, the most recent one, is amazing. It is It is a great movie. It is, how to put it? It is a Wrong Turn movie made with a post Hereditary, post Midsummer sensibility. If you watch it, yeah, it's a totally different thing, but if you watch it, you'll see how it thematically is a Wrong Turn movie. Which has Doug Bradley, I believe it's a fourth one. No, that's Wrong Turn 5. Yeah. Apparently it's Wrong Turn 5 that he's in. Wrong Turn 5, Bloodlines. Yeah. 3, 4, and 5 are just bad. They're pretty bad. They're wretched. Yeah, okay. So it's apparently the fifth one. It's Wrong Turn 5, Bloodlines that Doug Bradley is in. It's bad. I mean, Doug Bradley's clearly making the most of it. He's having a good time. You know, he's being evil, but like the movie itself doesn't work. Hey, Ozzy Rules. Rewatch Hellraiser 2. How long had it been? Because I forgot a good chunk of that movie. Oh my God, I can forget Hellraiser 2. Holy shit. Hellraiser 2 is probably the best not Clive Barker movie. Like you can see, like I can see the parts of that movie that aren't Clive Barker, but they're still really good. Yeah. Wrong Turn 6, also just called Wrong Turn, was made in 2021. I'm pretty sure that's the sixth one. Oh, I was right. It is in the Appalachian Trail. Okay, cool. Oh my God, I forgot it was released by Saban. Oh no, there's a wrong turn. There is a Wrong Turn 6 called Last Resort. Hold on. So Wrong Turn 2021 is actually the seventh film, but you don't. It has nothing to do with any of the others, so don't worry about it. If you want to, because it's a very different movie. Like I said, it's a Wrong Turn movie made like, post Midsummer. Yep, you're right, Joseph. Made for the reboot. Hellraiser 3 had some fun ideas. It had its moments. It's not the worst of the Hellraiser movies by a damn sight. Is it good? I don't know if I'd go that far. It's definitely a huge step down from Hellbound. I mean, like, there's some ideas for like Hellraiser Hell on Earth that I you could have done that basic concept and it would have worked. You know, it's one of those things where if they had just, I don't know, made a different movie, it's really hard to explain. You know, you could have done like Pinhead comes to Earth and have like all the really good Pinhead segments. You know, as even with the stuff like with like Doug Bradley facing off against himself, that all could have worked if the movie was better. I don't know if I would go that. I don't know. Phantasm 3 is not that bad. I think like I would dare say that I think Hellraiser Hell on Earth is worse than Phantasm 3. I don't know about Phantasm 5 though. That was or was it 4? Yeah, I think it was 4. Yeah. Yeah, the problem with here the problem with Hellraiser Hell on Earth and Hellraiser Bloodlines is that it was made during I don't know how to explain this, but there was like this kind of period of time in the 90s, in the mid 90s, before Scream happens, where where B movies just literally did just start to suck. Like they weren't just like weird low quality, weird low budget, low production quality. We're talking like they were just bad. Um, they were trying to make, for example, like what happened with Hellraiser. They tried to turn Pinhead into Freddy, and that ain't him. You know, he still could have said all those great lines like, you know, this is my body. Yeah, you know, he still could have done that, but I'm like, why didn't he do that in a Pinhead way? You still could have had the line that's like, no, the devil is a metaphor. Demons aren't real. Well, then what the fuck is that? Like, you still could have done that and had a great movie. Yeah, Weinstein, I think it was like, I don't know if he, yeah, Weinstein, you know. Yeah, it's like they were all like, there was a lot of trend chasing that happened in this 4-year period of time. And a lot of really good franchises, as well as original films, suffered for it. And then Scream happened, and everyone knew that wasn't going to turn the tide. You know, the tide wouldn't really begin to change until like 2000. It wouldn't really change until like Cabin Fever and Saw and Hostel. You know, like, although to be fair, I wouldn't even say like Hostel really changed things, but Cabin Fever did. Um, I would say Hostel 2 did. I would say Hostel 2 changed a lot of the game. You know, and then there were like some of the really good remakes that happened in the early 2000s, which kind of peaked with Piranha 3D. Yeah, whether Hellraiser Bloodlines or Hellraiser Hell on Earth, whichever one is worse, that's very debatable. You know, that one I think comes down to personal preference. Like, they're mid, you know, is the problem. But I will say this, I think Hell on Earth has better heights. What do you mean the return to torture porn? That was kind of the start of it. I mean, technically, if we want to like really go back, we have to go to like Japan and shit. We gotta go with like Ichi the Killer and Audition. Like, that's the real start of it. The Mickey films. Hey, Silly Palm. Hey, glad it worked. Glad you got it working. Yeah, Hellraiser 4 does end up in space. But for my money, like, Event Horizons is better Hellraiser in space. Torture porn in my book would be like blood sucking freaks. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. But like that's kind of one of the things I admired about it. This one kind of one of the things I like about it. It grew. Torture porn grew on me. You know, I wasn't so into it at first because the first one of the American torture porn genre I really saw was Saw, and I guess the twist. I figured out the twist so early on it ruined the movie for me. And the thing that pissed me off is that I was like, that twist doesn't work because of this. A twist that was so glaring they retconned it in a future movie. Like, the twist of Saw is a legitimate plot hole. You know, until they retconned it. Well, yeah, I would agree with you, Inferno Dragon. Who says like what really disappointed me about Hellraiser 3 was they made the cenobites just straight up demons rather than LGBTSM entities of ambiguous origin. Yeah, because we've already seen hell in that universe. That was Hellbound. We saw Hellbound. And that was a great original depiction of hell. And so we're like, why didn't you just keep doing that one? You know, the one that you set up that was so good that everyone loved. You know, what happened to Leviathan? What happened to Leviathan? What happened to the doctor? Doctor recommends amputation. Dude, I love that guy. What happened to him? I liked him. Well, as a bad guy, I liked him. You know, like the only real problem I had with the remake is I feel like it didn't get grimy enough with the sexuality. Because I'm like, it's Hellraiser. There should be. I. The plot was all right. Like, the plot was good. The new Pinhead is great. You know, the new look of the Cenobites was fantastic. You know, the plot was fine. But, like, I think John the Joker was really onto something when he said there wasn't a fat Cenobite and there needed to be. Like a fat, sweaty Cenobite, because there's always that one fat guy at the bondage club that's like, you're like, ah. You know, because Hellraiser isn't just about sex, it's about fucking. You know, it's about like that dirty, nasty kind of orgasm. You know, the one that afterwards you're like, oh God, I can't believe I fucking did that, you know. I mean, it's definitely, I would say it was better than 3 or 4. The remake of the redo, the most recent Hellraiser movie was better than Hell on Earth or Bloodlines. But I was really hoping it would reach the heights of the first 2. Yeah, Butterball, he's not in the remake. He's not in the new one. Yeah, Butterball's not in the new one. That's what I'm saying. Like, he should have been. Well, yeah, he's super memorable because you're just like, ah. Thanks, Jack. I need that mental image as I eat this bowl of soup. You're welcome. Well, like one of the other, yeah. Hellraiser 2, when Tiffany completes the puzzle. It is not hands that summon us. It is desire. You know, like that was cool. No, I would still say Butterball is pretty clearly obese. You know, he ain't like my 600-pound life obese, but he's really big. Hellraiser Beyond Butterball Cheese Wheel. Now I'm trying to think of like, you know, like Beyond, but what would you call it? Like Turkey Road, Buffet Dome. I don't know. Original still your favorite? Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, like it's hard to beat that one. I mean, I really love Hellbound too, but like you know, the original Hellraiser kind of edge it out. But it's just a really cool addition. I was also really sad that like I was also really sad that like they never. Okay, so one of the things Hellraiser about Hellraiser is that it's set in the same universe as Nightbreed. You know, whereas Hellraiser was set around Leviathan and the Cenobites, Nightbreed is centered around Baphomet and the Nightbreed. But there was there is connective tissue between. There is connective tissue between those two, but like they're not explored in any of the films. Um, but they were supposed to be at some point. Yeah, Chatterbox as a kid. That was fucking awesome. Because it's just like, oh shit. And you're like, oh, I guess L don't have an age restriction. Oh God. You know. Yeah, and that was written in the that's in the OG. That was in the original. Like, um, that was part of that was all like where the cenobites came from. That was always there. That was even it's not explored in the first movie in the one Clive Barker directed, but like those details were always there. Clive Barker hinted at hinted to a connection between the Nightbreed and Nightbreed and Hellraiser in Cabal. Or rather, at that point, it was like a connection between the Nightbreed and the Hellbound Heart. But yeah, there's a connection between the two. Like a good way of putting it is that Baphomet and Leviathan are both gods. They may not be on the same power level. Like there's definitely this feeling that Leviathan's a bit more powerful, is significantly more powerful. You know, kind of like, but like we're talking the difference between like Ithaquah and Shub-Niggurath. First movie really felt like a slasher film to me. I could see elements of that, but like to me, it doesn't feel like a slasher movie at all. I mean, it's got slashing, but like to me, the horror is just all about the horror is lust. Yeah, Leviathan is older, you know, much more primordial. Yeah, and Baphomet is younger by those standards, but still basically godlike to us. Yeah, there was a comic miniseries in the 90s that explicitly put the Nightbreed and the Cenobites in the same story. I believe it was called Jihad. Yeah, Hellraiser Nightbreed Jihad, spelled with an I. Um, you know, it's done by Epic Comics that actually I don't know if I don't know if I own all of these. I have a bunch of Clive Barker comics, including some of these, but I don't know if I have the whole three runs, if I have the whole series of Jihad. The Countess said he had more than I did. Oh, Epic also did like a specifically a Pinhead series. I don't know about that. But the Epic comics, when Epic was around, the Hellraiser and fucking Nightbreed comics that they did were really good. I own, I think, a collection of the first six of the Nightbreed comics. Although to me, the standout of the Clive Barker fucking Epic comics is their adaptation of Rawhead Rex. Oh my god, that thing is amazing. Oh, you can think about. I hear Leviathan. Oh, you can think about it as the '90s horror movie. Oh, dude. Yeah, hey, it's the best of the Alien ripoffs. Gotta say. Yeah, it's the best of the Alien ripoffs. Okay, I'm gonna get. I gotta refill my coffee. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Has Alan Moore written any books on his occult stuff? Oh my God, yes. Um, but what's a little easier to digest is he's done a lot of spoken word and I and movie essays about it. My favorite, I think, is the most a good entry point is the Mindscapes of Alan Moore. Let me check on that title for you. Yeah, the Mindscape of Alan Moore. It's technically a documentary. It is on. You can find it on YouTube in its entirety. That is an excellent place to start. Once you've kind of got that under your belt, I would go to the Grand Egyptian Moon and Serpent Theater. Um, yeah, the Moon and Serpent Grand Egyptian Theater of Marvels. I would do that next. Because that, how to put it, Mindscapes of Alan Moore is more of a gradual journey. Grand Egyptian Moon and Serpent Theater of Marvels, it just throws you in the deep end. It just throws you in the deep end. So it can be very confusing. It was very it was confusing to a lot of practice occultists. So I would start with Mindscape. And then after Grand Egyptian Theater of Marvels, I would go with the was it the Highbury working? Let me make sure I got the title correctly. Yeah, the Highbury working. Now, the thing about the Highbury working is that if you listened to if you've listened to the Grand Egyptian Moon and Serpent Theater of Marvels, there's a lot of overlap with that because in that one he talks about England, and as a result, and you can't talk about England without talking about London. But the Highbury working is specifically about London, so there's a bit of crossover. So if you're like, wait, this sounds a little familiar. Yeah, it is. It is. He's going over he goes over some of the same material in Highbury working that he did in Grand Egyptian Moon and Serpent. And once you've gone through that, once you've gone through like a couple of those, then you can like go to some of the other shit. Um, but really his like occult practices and stuff, you find most of that information in the documentaries he's in, those documentaries, those spoken word albums and interviews that he's done, where he really gets into it, explains it. Wait, what's a soundtrack? I know Mindscapes has a soundtrack. I own it. Um, if you're talking about the Grand Egyptian Moon and Serpent Theater of Marvels, it may be called a soundtrack, but it's actually a spoken word album. Same thing with the Highbury working. There is a lot of music in all of them. So that might be why, because Mindscapes is a film that has a soundtrack. And I think when they did, but the Grand Egyptian and Highbury are albums, albums only. So there might have been like some confusion as to where to put them. So they might have just said soundtrack. No, it's a little confusing. Alan Moore is there's supposed to be a book coming out soon at some point. Um, called The Moon and Serpent Bumper Book of Magic. But I don't think it hasn't come out yet, but it's been in production for a very long time. There's also a series of novels. Well, I don't know if it's a series of novels. He wrote one novel that was broken up into three books because it's a fucking tome. Um, called Jerusalem. Whoa. That thing is like the Illuminatus trilogy, if you know what the Illuminatus trilogy is. It is a book that is not meant to be comprehended. It's like Finnegan's Wake, except way longer. And Finnegan's Wake's already pretty dense. Well, Town eccentric. I will say, dealing with the occult, you start to deal with trauma, or you start to drown. You know, how do you know when you're drowning? You start to lose touch with reality. You go off in the QAnon direction. You know, and that's one of the things I fucking think is happening to a lot of these people. Whereas before, it wasn't really a closed practice, but there was a kind of self-selecting. There was kind of this self-selecting, like, people who allowed themselves to fucking deal with their trauma in the occult world. That used to be a much bigger and vocal contingent. Yeah. And that's the thing. You will start drowning and swimming again. Like, that's the thing. You know, the thing about the occult is often, how to put it, you know you're doing okay when you feel like when there is that constant feeling of like, oh, I'm doing okay, oh god, I'm drowning, yeah, I'm gonna die. Like, even though you're not in any imminent physical threat of death, like the sensation of, oh my god, what's gonna happen, I feel like I'm dying. That is, that it's to be embraced. But like, always check your perimeters. That's the I don't know how else to put it. Always check your perimeters. You know, you always want to make sure you know where the internal occult reality ends and the real world starts. You know, it's like the old acid advice. Cliffs are real, cars are real, okay? You know, like, always know this. The dragon talking to you, that might be real, that might not, but that car coming towards you definitely is. It makes perfect sense to me where gender dysphoria interacts with the occult. Perfect sense. Because that's where those two concepts, the masculine and feminine concepts, come together. That's the place they meet. And I've said 1,000 times before, like, is there such a thing as masculine and is there such a thing as feminine? And the answer is yes. But they are things that are in relation to each other. They are not fixed points. They are only fixed in their relative space. They're only fixed in relation to each other. You know, like two particles that are always at X amount of distance from each other. That's the one thing that is constant. The one thing that is constant is that they're two ends of the they're probably a better way of putting it. The two ends of the spectrum are only ever so far away from each other and are ever so close. And they move, but they move in tandem with each other. you know. So at any one period of time, and by one period of time, I mean like we could be talking like months to just a couple of years. We know what that is. We know what that relationship is, but it moves. So the indicators of what masculine and what feminine is changes. There are a few things that change much slower than others. For example, the fact that in human males, because of our hormonal makeup, are much faster to anger. That's true. That's true. Now, is that true across all animals? Actually, no. But for humans, that's largely true. But that's only in relationship to what we consider female. A given woman can be faster to anger than a given man. But on the whole, the male is designed to be faster to anger and quicker to action and quicker to physicality. But that's only a trend. That's the thing a lot of people don't like get. It's only a trend. It's a strong trend, but still only a trend. You know, and at the end of the day, sorry, my brain wandered off into like the trans and cis politics, which is a slightly different. I mean, it's related, but like it's slightly different. Um, what does that anger look like? Oh, for me, it's attacking. Actually, it's two parts. It's attacking, but at first, it's how dare you defy me? That's what it looks like. How dare you defy me? And everyone has their own thing, which is considered defiance. For me, it's unfairness. Unfairness is a big one that's commonly shared. Another one for me that's a little more specific to me is having my goodwill used as a weapon against me, claiming my mercy or my understanding or me making myself vulnerable to someone for the sake of somebody else is a weakness to be exploited, makes me extremely angry. Like half the physical altercations I've gotten into have been because of that. Another big thing for me is abusing the unfortunate, which also includes children. I don't tolerate the abuse of children lightly. And I have what I consider to be a pretty generous gauge of when I intervene physically. For me, it is when you're hitting a child repeatedly. You know, or a slapped or a hard slap to the face or a closed fist to a kid. Like I've gotten into fights over that. Yeah, there are probably about yeah, they're like two or three. I know it's at least two. I think I just screamed at the third one. Yeah, I think so. That one almost came to blows, but like someone stepped between us. That was also ironically it was also the most dramatic. Um, yeah, there are a few abusive parents that know what my fist feels like. Um, and the thing that always like freaked me out the most was that the ones I got into altercations with, they all acted like it was fine. Well, not the altercation. That was like, how dare I? Um, but like what they were doing to the kid. Like, well, what I have to understand is no, all I have to understand is you hit that kid 5 times while I was standing here. And the reason it was 5 times is because after the second time you did it, I had to calculate whether or not I was willing to fucking get arrested over it. Oh God, probably the biggest one was when I was snowboarding up in Tahoe. This one time with my friend Steve, and we were having a bad. We had a good day, but we were having a bad night. Like as the whole place was closing down, I think we lost our keys to the car. Like we didn't know what to do. We couldn't unlock it. All our stuff was inside. We couldn't get back to the hotel. Like it was bad, very bad. And then in the middle of this, family shows up and the woman takes her daughter into the woman's bathroom and just you could hear yelling and screaming, mostly the mother. From the kid I mainly heard crying. um and there was clearly a lot of hitting going on, as well as yelling. So I stormed into the bathroom and I told the lady, if you don't stop hitting that kid, I'm going to shove my snowboard right up your fucking ass. At which point my friend Steve was like, oh God, here it comes. you know? And then I stormed right out of the bathroom again. She tells her husband, and he gets, he starts to step. And I'm like, no, I ain't going to apologize. You don't fucking scare me. If you want to fight, you have to hit first. You want this to come to blows? I'm right here. And it did. That one didn't come to blows, although it was the most dramatic. Eventually, a security guard kind of came over, and all he wanted us was for us to both go. And I'm like, if he doesn't hit me, I don't have to hit him. I'm standing right here. I haven't thrown a punch. He fucks off. I don't have to do nothing. Well, you really shouldn't do. No, you don't tell me what I should and shouldn't do. Sitting there hitting that kid for 5 minutes. I should have gone in earlier. No, this kid is just, I don't need to understand. I've already got everything I need. There's no reason to be hitting and screaming at a kid for 5 fucking minutes. None. I have seen some egregious behavior from kids. I mean, like really bad. Didn't require that. I had one friend. He had a troubled kid, and there were a lot of bad stuff is going on. His kid tries to set fire to the bed. The dad catches him. Just picked him up, spanked him pretty hard once. And then just looked at him and he's like, you don't ever fucking do that. Do you understand? You don't ever do that. And because you fucking did that, you don't get to come with me. They planned a trip. He was playing a trip with him. He's like, you don't get to come with me anymore. Now, the truth of it is that the kid was young enough that the dad had already, within like half a second, formulated this plan, which he was going to take the trip away from the kid. But if the kid behaved himself, he was going to let him come anyway. Like he had already planned that, like that. And, but he was talking to me, he's like, I don't know if I did the right thing. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what else you could have done. If there was a better answer, I know you would have taken it. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh shit, I wouldn't have known what to do. But I asked him, like, how many times you hit him? He's like, just once. I spanked him once. And I was like, was it to the face? Or he's like, no. In the face. And I was like, well, then okay. And then, like, for a while after, I was like, has he done it again? And he's like, hadn't done it again. And I'm like, good. Did he go on the trip with you? He's like, oh yeah, fucking of course. Like fucking of course. He didn't do it again. Like that's what I needed. I just need him to fucking like not set fire to the house. On purpose. Like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're doing okay. Like, are you fucking your kid up? Yeah, sure. But like the situation is already fucked. And I don't know how else you could have dealt with that because that needs to be stopped on the quick pass. Yeah, last resort with clear limitations. Yeah, very important. And I'm like, well, that worked in that case. So I don't know what you got to be beating a kid for like 5 minutes over. Yeah, make them a little afraid. Don't terrorize them. Yeah. Yeah, that was the other thing is that, like, how to put it, like when. Even if discipline like that is required, it should be unusual. That's the big thing. That's part of the difference between physical discipline and abuse. Abuse is constant. Like, that's the norm. Yeah. The problem was is that the boy, because we were talking about setting a fire, there needed to be immediate compliance. Like, oof, bad, bad. But the thing is he even understood why the kid was doing it. But that's like, it has to do with what was going on between him and his wife, the kid's mother, at the time. Bad, bad, bad relationship. Yeah, actual violence should be the last resort. Yeah. And it was. It just unfortunately came down to that. So I'm hoping that, like, all goes well. It'll become one of those, like, I blame my dad for the fact that I became a fireman. Like, like, this is what you hope for, right? Yeah, I could never have fucking been the guy's friend if that was a thing that happened all the time. Yeah, also the fact that he it was also clear he felt really awful about it but like his guilt over having done it was never greater than his concern for his son. Like, he was way more worried about the kid than he was worried about whether he was the bad guy. I have a history with an abusive dad and a really abusive dad. Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah. Luckily my dad wasn't abusive. My mom was. My dad was the worst thing I could say about my dad is that he doesn't always understand. He doesn't necessarily understand how to fulfill emotional needs. He's a little bad at that. Um, oh, hey, Bubba, what's up? Oh, Tom. You're Tommy Oso. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, physical discipline way too common in your household. Oh, yeah, no, can't be that common. Can't be that common. If it's common to the point where the siblings ain't giggling no more, whoa, that's bad. Because, like, yeah, it can already be abusive if it's still funny, but, like, if it's past funny, oh man, bad juju, bad. That's extra bad. So you finally got a little TikTok, my best freestyle. What kind of freestyle are we talking about? We talking about rap or are we talking like skateboarding? Hang on. I got a deal. Yeah, and then yeah. Absolutely right. Rap's hard, man. Rap's hard. The only reason it looks easy is because the guys who do it well have got to the point where it's easy for them to do the basics. It's easy for them to be competent. Not necessarily easy to be like top tier. That's still hard. But they got the basics down. Yeah. It's no, it's hard. It's hard. It's like in many ways, it's harder than singing, because in many ways, in singing, sometimes you could just have the talent, and that can move you forward. You just sound lovely. Rap's a lot harder. Rap's harder because even if you have that, don't necessarily get you there. A lot of rap is about not elucidation, although that helps. What is it? Enunciation. One guy I was always really surprised didn't do a rap album because I think he'd be good enough at it that it'd be worth hearing. Was John Muschieto, the guy who did the voice of Blur in the fucking Transformers movie. Actually, he did the voice of Blur in the cartoon too, like in the regular series, the G1 series. But I was, oh man, that'd be a cool thing to do with Blur. That'd be a cool thing to fucking do with Blur if you brought him back, is to actually like have him be like a speed rapper. So I'm trying to think of a really, 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 really good speed rapper. Yeah, I'm drawing up a blank. I can see the guy. I can hear him, but I can't remember the lyrics. Bus driver? No, that's not who I'm thinking of. No, Kendrick's amazing, but he's not fast. Yeah, there's one rapper I'm thinking of who's like really super fucking fast. Tech Nine. Yes, I think that's what I'm thinking of. Tech Nine. You know, Tech Nine are like LP on at his best, at his fastest. Yeah, Twista may qualify. No, Method Man's a little more deliberate. He's really good, but like I'm talking about a guy who's just like, yeah, you gotta come back, ass up. Oh God, I can't even do it. Like LP would be a good example. Like when he is going at his fastest, which I cannot imitate. Hmm. But yeah. If you did Blur, but like he would speed rap, that'd probably be really fucking cool. That'd probably be a lot of fun. I feel like Buster Rhymes should have been Blaster. Like, put Blaster in something, have him like be like fucking voiced by like Buster Rhymes. A Weird Al singing Hardware Store. Yeah. Yeah. But I think it would be more fun to actually have like a rapper do it, or deliberately hip hop. All right, we went on a little tangent there because someone said something that made me think of Transformers. Um, let's see. Kira says my dad always harassed me at a young age, knocked me down, used food as control. Oh, geez, yeah, no good, no good. No good. Yeah. Not yeah. No. The more I think about Blur, Tech Nine as Blur would be great. Like when he goes into, oh, dude, they should do a Transformers like they did Into the Spider Verse. You know, or like you do a new cartoon, but when Blur comes on, it kind of becomes Into the Spider Verse, like he has his own animation style because he's going so fucking fast. You know? Yeah, let's see. I just found what it's called: recreational peer victimization. Oh, reactional peer victimization, being targeted with a reactive abuse from someone who is also someone else who's being abused. Oh, jeez. No. Fucking Malsadon. He wasn't Wrecker. He was Wreckgar. He was the version of Wreckgar that was a dump truck. And I thought that was pretty good, but like to me, Wreckgar should always have an English accent, should always have a British accent, or at least an Australian one. Oh, you haven't claimed your super chat from last week? Yeah, sure. I can give. Yeah. So you want your 30 minutes? Transformers: The Harmonic Wave with a multiverse of Transformers, dude. If you're gonna do like Transformers, harmonic wave, like the main villain has got to be Soundwave. You know. Yeah. Phosphor. Send me a. Hold on. Send me a Discord direct message. And we'll set that up. Oh yeah, like in that what was it? I think it was Transformers 2 where they were like, "Oh, well, I'm Skids and Mudflap." And I'm like, "No. First of all, that's not Skids or Mudflap. Fuck you. Second of all, you should have brought back Jazz and it should have been Jazz and Blaster. You should have had those two characters working off of each other the entire time. And like Jazz should be Jazz. You know, he should be that kind of Porsche, you know, with big fin on the end of it. Blaster, I was of the opinion that if you wanted to do Blaster in the movies and you didn't want to make him a boombox, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but whatever, then he should be uh, a souped up rice burner with like this incredible sound system. No, he should still be red, yellow. He should still be like orange, red, and yellow. He should still have that head and the silver trim, you know. But his legs should be made of the internal speaker system, which should just be like pimp my ride levels of ridiculous. You know, and also Devastator should have just been fucking Devastator. Now you could bring a transform back. They brought back Optimus Prime how many times? Bring back jazz. Oh, making Blaster into a party bus? No. He can't be black. He's still got to be like yellow and reddish orange. But you could have had like graffiti on him, and he's still been Blaster. You know, that's just one of them things, you know, where I'm like, they really should have fucking done that. Also, when they tried to do Galvatron, I was of the opinion, I was like, first of all, I was like, that's not Galvatron, you know. But I also thought that the one that they did with like, what's his face, Mark Wahlberg, when he hooks it up, instead of it being Optimus Prime, it should have been Motormaster. And just do the Stunticons and Menasor, you know? The one with the Wrecking Ball testicles. That annoyed me. That actually pissed me off because I'm like, wrong franchise, man. Wrong franchise. You're thinking 14-year-old humor. This is Transformers. This needs to be like 10-year-olds. You know? I'm beneath enemy scrotum. I hated that. I hated that so much. Yeah, a lot of the live action movies are just bad. They're just bad. You know, just face it, like fucking Michael Bay just is bad. Rise of the Allspark? I'm not familiar with that one. The two wreckers. I don't know why they didn't just use the runabout and run amok. You know, the what was it? The turbochargers. All right, I'm gonna pause for a bit because I've gone through my coffee again, and then when we come back, we're gonna chat with Fernando for a little bit. Okay, we are back with our guest, Falsifer. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, dude?
You looking pretty good. What's up?
Oh, thank you. So far, just trying to make sense of it all because on the same day that I became an uncle, I met my newborn nephew tonight. The motherfucker who's now mayor decided, hey, you can't have pride at the town square anymore because I say so.
Oh,
Yes, and
now
when
this is in
yes,
Ecuador, right?
yes, in Guayaquil, Ecuador. And what pisses me off the most is that that bastard gone hard for the progressive vote because and that's something that I hate. I hate so much how people keep being duped. Like these guys with the we call them correístas because their leader is Rafael Correa, who was president for 10 years and wants to still be president even though he's on the run and with a prison sentence. They keep being duped. Like, yes, they're left leaning, but they don't support gay rights. They don't support abortion. They don't support indigenous rights. And people keep falling for it, and it's frustrating.
Do they have a clear option? Oh, see,
Okay,
that's the big
no,
problem.
yes, the big problem is
Yeah,
there's not a
America
clear
has the exact
option.
same problem, which is
Hmm.
most of the people who voted for Joe Biden would rather have voted for someone who was significantly more to the left than he was, but
Hmm.
he was the leftist viable option.
Yeah, but even then, well, speaking as an Ecuadorian, at least you could say that the man is trying with big quotation marks. I mean, it could be worse. At least Joe Biden is not Joe Manchin, from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. He is not.
But the problem with Ecuador is that we have the same problem in that you have the left-leaning parties and the right-leaning parties.
Mhm.
The problem is that they're both conservatives. And at least
Oh, yeah.
yes, and I've noticed that every time there wants to be like a third option, either it's just another right wing, either neoliberal or just flat out fascist, or they're actual progressive parties, but for whatever reason they end up compromising and joining the former president's party for whatever reason. And even then, they don't amount to much because that bastard always picks either people he already knows and or his clones. And and it's just like that and people don't want to find other options and it's frustrating. Like I'm tired of arguing with people about the please do not vote for this person, let's find someone else, and the answer I get is but this guy won't amount to nothing for X, Y, and Z. And like yes, but it's either we constantly keep swinging the pendulum and nothing gets done and the country just gets worse for it.
Yeah.
But at least back
Yeah,
on
the
the
biggest the way I've come to think of it is you have to keep the pendulum from swinging. It's not so much get the pendulum to swing farther left, so much as to keep it from swinging farther right, and people start to move slowly and naturally. It's why I do believe in like voting for the lesser of two evils when it comes to the general election. I don't know how elections work in Ecuador, but in America,
in,
each party has its primary. And in my
in,
opinion, the primary is where you're like, no, this is the guy I want. If you want Bernie Sanders over um, Biden,
in,
that's when you go in all in. And then after that, it's like, well, we kind of had a consensus on we can all kind of live with this guy. We're not all going to get
in,
everything we want, but we're kind of okay with it. But we really don't like what's going on over there. So this is where we're going to put the the tent pole, the marker. This is
Hmm.
where we're going to try to make sure that at least the center is the current political center, even though it's not center. You know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
move it slowly and steadily to the left. And sometimes that means you make sure that it doesn't swing back so hard right. It's a defensive move, definitely, but this ain't like sports. In sports, a
Yeah.
defense don't necessarily mean as much. I mean, or rather, it ain't football. In football, it
Hmm.
ain't a defense isn't necessarily all that important, but in politics, it can be extremely important. Um, so if there's a primary, when people don't vote for who they want in a primary, I think that's ridiculous. But I don't know if Ecuador has primaries or anything like that.
No, the big difference is that we don't have a two-party system. Anyone can start their own political party as long as they feel a checklist, a quota. And the problem that Ecuador has is
Ooh.
that there's parties that just refuse to go away, either because they have like a definitive base in a city, or because they stuck around so long that they already have like people that just keep voting for them no matter what, even if they lose. And at least in my city here in Guayaquil, there was just this massive paradigm shift because since as long as since almost as long as I've been alive, this city has belonged to the right wing party, which is called the Social Christian Party.
Oh,
Yeah,
Christian kind of gives it away.
that's the
Um,
name. Those guys came to power.
Colonizers. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys came to power in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and they stuck around up until this year.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a guy who was president. His name was León Febres Cordero. He had that's the other big thing. Mayors here can run for up to 3 times.
Okay.
Yes, mayors here can have up to 3 periods. And that guy had his 3 periods. Then his second in command, who's called Jaime Nebot, he also had his 3 periods and winning by landslides. And then the one he chose, which was a woman named Cinta Viteri, she had 1 period from 2017 to this year. And she lost miserably against the current mayor, which unfortunately is from the Correistas. And again, those guys are just left leaning in name only because they're not progressive. Like if you see their entire um, party members, first of all of them are white, and if they're not
Mhm.
white, they're just mestizos, which depending on who
What's
you
that?
ask, oh, mestizo is half like okay. Okay, so this is a Latin American thing in
Hmm.
general, but mestizo is essentially the ethnic group that's 90% of the entire continent, which you have people that can be either from indigenous, black,
Yeah.
or
Are you technically
European.
mestizo?
I am mestizo.
Okay. Okay.
I am mestizo. I mean, I'll put it to you like this way. On my mother's grandmother's side, her second last name is Becker, and on my father's side, her grandmother's last name is Gurumendi,
Okay.
which
Okay.
is a yeah,
So
it's
basically,
it's
there
a
is a classification for not quite white. Yeah.
yeah, but even then, like in Mexico, you have concepts like Whitexicans.
Yeah. 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 But it
Mhm.
sounds like this is a little more like South Africa, where you have blacks and coloreds, where the
More
coloreds
or less.
are not considered black, but they're definitely not considered white.
Hmm. Yes, but in here, like the whole mestizo is basically everyone, unless you are
Mm.
100% Afro-Latino or you're 100% indigenous. You're mestizo. No, it
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter how white or how tan or how dark skinned you are mestizo.
Okay.
The only thing that differentiates you is if you were born in Ecuador or Venezuela or Mexico, etc.
Okay.
Hmm. And the thing is that that still technically counts as white in that general sense. Like I mean, I am white. I can call
Okay,
myself.
yeah,
I am a
you would be
citizen.
considered white in Ecuador. Okay.
Yes. And so this party that claims to be progressive, that claims to be for the people, all their leaders are white. All the all the people they choose, it's never like working class people. Like the mayor we have right now is an evangelical son of a gas company. And I'm not talking about gas, yes, and I'm not talking about like
Yeah.
house gas. I'm talking about fuel.
Right, right.
hmm Yeah, this guy was born rich,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
mhm.
That
And it's something that it
happens.
was
Yeah, that happens here all the time too.
yes, and it's always people like that. Like I, what frustrates me is that people keep being duped. Like I have talked with gay people and some people of color that they hate the right and for good reason because many of you can trace back all the crises of my country starting in 1996. I'll put it to you like that.
Mm,
And yes, I hate the current government as much as every other sane person, but to think that the solution is to put back the same people who were in power 10 years ago, that's not a solution. It's not even a defense.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
and I have to explain, like,
So
okay,
it
how can
sounds like
we
the politics of Ecuador doesn't even swing as wide as that in America.
know? And it's actually a big problem. A big problem in Latin America in general is that it's starting to become ungovernable in the sense that right now the current right-wing president has problems, but so does the left-leaning president in Chile. So does the president of Peru was removed from power after he
Yeah.
attempted a coup as well. And obviously, yeah, that things are bad. Things are really bad, and it's not even a right or left problem. It's literally the entire continent is becoming ungovernable unless you have a strong man become dictator, or you're like what was the question? No, that's literally it. Like if you, it's either constant crisis with weak or inept governments, or you bring a dictator like it happened with in El Salvador with Nayib Bukele, like it happened in Venezuela, and like it almost happened with Bolsonaro in Brazil.
Bolsonaro was particularly bad.
Yeah, yeah, really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, it's oh man. It
And
yeah,
and nobody knows.
I don't really know
And
enough
the
about
other,
go on.
uh-huh,
No, I was just about to say, like, I'm
yeah,
not
and
super familiar with South American politics. I have a surface level understanding of it.
no, I understand. And truth be told, it's wide. Like it's dense. It's a lot. But
Yeah.
what was I going to say? But the other big problem that we're having is that the entire continent has been completely ravaged by drugs, by drug lords. Like I know that a lot of people in Latin America, I love that we hate the stereotype of drug lords and cartels and all of that, but it's the truth. I hate it, but it's the truth. Like Ecuador before
Yeah.
2007, it wasn't perfect, but we didn't become like the port where drugs came and went.
Really? Like
Like
I thought
yeah,
actually my entire life Ecuador's been kind of famous for that.
no, actually,
I mean,
what
I'll
the
believe it's gotten worse, but it's always kind of had that
it's gotten
reputation.
worse. Yes, so the situation with drugs is you obviously have the cartels in Mexico and the
Mhm.
cartels in Colombia.
Right.
And it's a toss of the coin which of the two is the one producing the drugs. Ecuador has always been like the bridge, like they come here
Right.
and then they take it. But at least from the late 90s and all the way up to the mid 2000s, that's not been the case. Like there was nowhere like the the thing with gangs and drug violence that reduced significantly because it was essentially concentrated in Colombia. So a lot of the local gangs here just didn't have any leverage, and they either dissipated, they were caught up, or they just move out.
Yeah,
But when
it's funny during that period of time, the Taiwan did a similar thing where
Mhm.
they got rid of a lot of organized crime. Although I believe in Taiwan it was primarily targeted at the Yakuza. Um,
Mhm.
because they were using it as a as a major port because it is a major port, and they really diminished their influence. Although I don't know how it is now. I don't know how it is now. Maybe that changed. Although it's Taiwan's relatively peaceful unless you count like the tensions with China.
Right.
But like it used to be like it used to have a major underground presence and organized crime presence. You know,
Yeah, Ecuador has actually become the hotbed because, and again, I can't believe I have to explain this to people who live here. Like, how funny it is that before Rafael Correa, while we weren't perfect, we weren't as full of drug violence and cartels as we are now, because those things don't happen in a vacuum, and then they don't show overnight. And
no,
one of
they
the
develop. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, and what was one of the and there were two key things as to why people didn't notice it when Correa was president, and it was because there was an oil boom, and the dude was selling oil like crazy.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
So the country did have a lot of money. I can confirm. Thanks to that, my father was able to buy the house where we live. Thanks to that economic boom, but that eventually ran out.
yeah.
And for as much money that went into the country, like on airplanes, on the health insurance, on housing, 10, 10 times the same amount of money went into whatever Correa was doing behind closed doors. And one of the things he did was he removed an American base. And yeah, he
Something I
removed
was
an
about to
American base.
say. It ties right into that. Yes, yes. This
Mhm.
is this is making sense.
Yes, he removed two American bases actually. One that was that there were two bases in two coastal cities. He removed them, and at first he was like, "Yeah, we get back our sovereignty," and blah blah blah. But then things started changing. First of all, the money run up. The second, and and the other big thing is people noticed that we started losing money because
Hmm.
that fucker on his last term, on his last year as president, wanted to put a tax on heritage, an inheritance tax.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
The only reason why there wasn't a coup was because he backed down at the last minute. But he, but yeah, he essentially wanted to put an inheritance tax that would have given the government 30% of all assets that anyone has. Basically saying, oh, you want to give this house to your son, or you want to leave your car. Well, too bad. 30% of that property belongs to the government, and that was completely fucked up.
Across the board, all income levels.
Across across the board, all income
Ooh, no, no,
levels,
no, 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 no. You
and
can't do that. Can't do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That it
and
has to be the upper 50% at least. Otherwise, because people at the bottom, 50% of what they got is nothing.
no, nothing. And that's the other thing that I always try to explain a lot of people here. Like, yes, we have a lot of rich people that are assholes and haven't helped in anything. But how is it that the same rich people that you were complaining about in 2001 and in 2004 are still rich today in 2023? Because Correa never went after them.
Yeah,
He never touched them.
yeah. Too much
And why
power.
is
Probably a lot of
Mhm.
influence in the military. As
Actually,
evidenced by a potential coup. You know.
mhm. Yes, but the thing is, it's not enough power as it may seem, because otherwise Correa wouldn't have lasted the 10 years he did.
Right, right, right. Exactly. Like it's
And
all about perception.
exactly.
But with the Americans out of the picture, or at least seemingly out of the picture, people are emboldened and they're like, oh, we could do this now because America's not going to stop us. They might have stopped us before because they were right there. They might have had something to say about it, you know?
No, the thing is, the thing is actually it's worse because before we were just like the port. Like, okay, you came here and then you move out. Now they're here. Like there was a report by the BBC that confirmed that prisons here are the base of operations of drug lords. Like that an Albanian
makes complete sense.
I don't remember if it was like an Albanian crime lord or an Italian, like Eastern European crime lord is here. And he's handling everything from a prison here. And here's the kicker. Here's the big kicker. After Ecuador essentially became the hotbed of drug trafficking, they stopped sending the drugs to the United States. Do you know where they're going to Europe? And do you know where they're landing?
In Europe?
In Europe, specifically in what part of Europe all the drugs are where all the drugs that come out of Latin America arrive in Europe.
I would assume either someplace like if they're going directly to Europe, I would assume it would either be France or Britain.
Belgium.
Belgium.
And
oh, interesting.
And here's the real kicker. Like this is where the funny part. Guess in what country is the former president living right now?
Belgium.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, man, for Ecuador, that's quite the trek. Like, oh man, they gotta. Oh man, I wonder what this makes me wonder what the situation in Panama is, because I mean they got to be going through that canal in order to get to Belgium.
That's actually the other part, because Colombia has a problem with their borders. That there's this militia group called the and
okay,
there's that. And guess what? Latin American government in the same area is sympathetic to those same militias.
Medellin, Bogota,
Venezuela.
Oh.
Yeah. So you have Ecuador right here. Here's our border with Colombia. This is where the FARC are. And they essentially cover the whole border with Colombia and go all the way to Venezuela. So they don't even have to use...
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. They can go through Colombia and then like fucking export out of Aruba or Trinidad. Oh my God.
They don't even have to use the canal because they can just go to Venezuela. And since that government is sympathetic to the Colombian militias, they can just waltz in and out, no problem.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Well, one thing... Oh, you still there, man?
And then they take the trek to Belgium.
Oh, my God. Okay, all right. Now this is all making sense. Okay. Oh, my God. That is... So basically, Ecuador is caught in... Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, I don't know how you're going to get rid of that, how you're going to deal with that, because if you've got like Colombia and Venezuela benefiting from this, like Ecuador's screwed.
Oh no, Colombia doesn't benefit at all. They're actually going through a recession right now. Like
a recession benefits an illicit trade.
Oh, of course, obviously. And here's the other thing. Ecuador uses the American dollar. We got the dollar in 2000.
Oh.
And here's another funny thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And here's another funny thing. The previous president, the one that's in Belgium, he tried to de-dollarize Ecuador. He tried to remove the dollar. And it wasn't an unpopular measure. There were people that didn't like the fact that we don't have our own currency, but he never went through with it. Like it was something that he said in his campaigns, that it was something he considered after he went into office, but he never went through with it.
Yeah, establishing a new currency is really difficult. Like
It's really difficult,
I'm
but
not surprised he couldn't pull that one off. That's hard for anybody. That would be hard for like look what just happened with Britain. Look what just happened with Britain. Like almost the exact same shit would happen. You know?
Yes, it was actually three reasons. The first one was it was three reasons why he didn't went through it. The first one was that whole mess about having to establish new currency.
Yeah,
The
which is
second one
very difficult and very hard and very
is that
volatile.
our previous currency, because currency.
Hold on, we missed all of that. Hang on a minute. Let's see if the connection. Let's see if the connection fucking reestablishes itself. You're not coming through at all. All right, hang on. All right, are you still there? Yeah, you're okay. I can hear you. Your camera. Okay, hold on. We've got movement. Okay, I see you. You're moving fine. All right, go on.
All right. Okay, yes. So as I was saying, the first one was the whole difficulty. The second one was that before we could establish a new currency, we will have to revert back to the old currency. The problem was that it was devalued like crazy. Like if he tried to pull it off, we would actually become like Venezuela.
Yeah. That's
yeah, and
not bad foresight. You know?
And the third reason is if the third reason was if he reverts from the dollar, how is he going to pay these funny new friends that are coming out of the presidential government?
Yeah.
And here's another funny thing that one of those
oh no.
Want to admit it. Okay, I can.
Yeah. You're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The internet's kind of wonky today. Okay, so I was the last thing that the last piece of the puzzle. He banned casinos. He completely banned casinos. He didn't ban bets.
He didn't ban what?
Bets, betting, He didn't bet. He didn't ban gambling.
But
or rather,
only the casinos.
He only banned the casinos. But if you wanted to go bet for a football team, you could have.
Right. Like he's trying to crack down on money laundering.
No. He just created a pretense because bets never went away. You could still go bet for a match. He just made it less public.
Oh, okay.
Ever since he left, betting has been in. Ever since he left, the bettings have increased like crazy. Now, if I go to Google, if I go to any website that uses ads, 9 times out of 10, I get ads from 4 different betting companies here in Ecuador.
Oh, they got around it. Okay. Ooh.
They got around it. We obviously use the dollar, so it's narcos paradise because you have a country that is not regulated by the United States. Because we're a country that's not regulated by the United States beyond them sending us American dollars. All the safety nets are rotten. Like let's say if you're a woman and you're the victim of assault, good luck trying to get your aggressor arrested.
Right.
So yes, the entire justice system is rotten to the core, and neither the police nor the military have any power because the previous president pretty much stripped them of it, and any attempts to do otherwise is blocked at the assembly, which is like the Senate, and here we are
Oh, geez.
in a flat circle.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that sounds horrible.
And that story, Colombia is a different story. It is. We try to like we basically have this mentality of trying to get by because the only good thing about the dollar is that as long as the United States doesn't collapse, we'll be fine. But
Yeah, I'm actually
that's why,
very. I mean,
yeah,
it's not a big surprise how that it's broken down like this, but it's in many ways it's a little too bad that the South American countries can't, or at least some of them can't create a union. You know, like a United States of Southern America of South America. Um,
the problem is that
but I mean, they're like, yeah, there'd
there
be a lot of problems with that, but
there
you
was
know,
an attempt. There was a, there were because we have what was the name of this? I don't remember what was the exact name, but it was around the same time that both Correa became the president of Ecuador and Evo Morales became the president in Bolivia. And and both of them they were allies with Hugo Chavez when he was alive. So
mm,
they tried to create their
oh shit. Yeah, let's see if it reconnects. I mean, the time's just about up, so might not be a bad thing to just end it there. But I was hoping to do so gracefully rather than suddenly. Oh, okay, yeah. I think due to both the connection and that, like, the clock's kind of running out, kind of run out. It might be a good idea to cut this here for now.
oh yeah, sure, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I actually
although
went
I
yeah,
really,
it's
really was. This is really interesting to me, though.
yeah, it is interesting be, because it's like it feels like the Pepe Silvia.
I know what you. Sorry, I'm not just laughing because the connection got weird. I'm laughing because I know what you mean by the Pepe Sylvia thing.
It's more than that when you really step down and see just it's dense in the sense that just a continuous string of fuck ups that led to where we are at in Ecuador.
Yeah, yeah, and of course you've also got United States interference that is not helping the situation. You know.
Dude, like one of the worst days for me in the in the whole United States and Latin America happened in 2020. No, happened in 2019, either 2018 or 2019, where two things happened. The first one was a formula crisis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Ecuador ended up becoming like the most affected country for a formula legislature that thankfully that there was enough of an uproar that they went back on it. And the second one was when fucking Mike Pence came here.
Oh, oh man, that.
Yeah, he came here supposedly for to talk about man. I don't remember what was, but it led to nothing. Because even if Mike Pence wanted to attempt to do something, chances are Trump wasn't going to hear him out
Yeah,
if
yeah,
he ever did.
exactly. Like it's like the word of the vice president of the United States is tenuous at the best of times. But now we're dealing with Trump's vice president. You're like, is this even going to matter at all? Like,
No, and it didn't. Oh man,
yeah,
it's a shame that we can talk more because I actually wanted to talk about Beau Is Afraid because I rewatched it after you and Guru review it.
it's a great movie.
Yeah, fun fact, when I watched it, I didn't know what to think of it. My my reaction to that movie was the same reaction Joaquin Phoenix had in the movie after he strangled his mother. Like I was just walking out of the
Yeah. You're that movie bludgeons you. Like you feel like you've been fucking like punched in the face. It's so effective.
yeah.
I
It,
haven't.
it actually it actually broke my heart that it didn't do as well because I was one of three people in that entire movie theater when I went to see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it like streaming.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
Because I like how to put it, like times is tough, and I gotta determine where I'm spending my money. So
Right.
hey, if anyone out there in the chat wants to help support the Count Jackula stream, send in a super chat. If you send in $20, we'll chat for like a half hour about whatever you want. Just like I have with the Falsifer here. And if you just want to send in money, that is fine too. We also have a Patreon that you could find, Count Jackula, the Count Jackula Patreon. Awesomeness. And I think I should let you go for now, Falsifer. Although, yeah, no, Beau Is Afraid is an amazing movie, and I loved
I
it.
liked it more the second time. Also, what the one last thing, something I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the scene when the chick drinks the paint?
Yes.
Yeah, I just noticed this on my second time, but the after she does it and the mother is coming and she hears the screams. Do you remember that she said that she watched everything with the TV?
Yeah.
The fucking arena courtroom is on the TV
Yeah.
when she hears the
Yeah.
screams.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, The second time around was definitely the best watching it because my God, that movie just flummoxed me.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. It's RES. It's his best. It's
I want to see
absolutely
what
his best.
I want to see what he does next. Hopefully, A24 doesn't.
Well, I
Hopefully,
don't think they're
A24.
gonna. This was not like it didn't make a lot of money, but it also wasn't their most expensive, the most expensive movie they've ever made either.
It actually
Oh, it
was.
was? Yeah, but I mean, it's not like Marvel movie expensive. It was like 80
No,
million, wasn't it? Like somewhere between
it,
60 and 80.
yeah, 60 and 80 million, which it's 90s blockbuster money, but that's a lot of money for
Oh,
them.
yeah, it's
None of
still
their
a lot of money, but like, I'm pretty sure they have that money.
Now they have it. Hopefully, they get to work with him again because my God, I want to see what he does next. Like even before I see what even before I started liking Beau Is Afraid, I want to see what this man does next.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, he's a great director, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later,
Uh,
Falsifer. You take care. I hope things get better. I hope things get better with you. Things work out for you and that things are okay.
well, a third option appeared for next month's election, so crossing fingers.
Keep them
A third
crossed.
option did appear.
Yeah. All right, man. You take care.
You as well, man. Take
Night.
care. Bye.
Oh, man. Oh, that was cool. Let's see. What else? What are you guys talking about in that chat? But like, yeah, I really like Beau Is Afraid. That was awesome. It's an awesome movie. Let's see. What do we got in the chat? Due to how Midsummer did to be emotionally and hold off on bold Beau Is Afraid. Here's the funny thing. Here's the interesting thing about Beau Is Afraid. It's a dark comedy. It's the first actual like overt dark comedy that he's done. The other two had darkly comedic elements, but it wasn't as overtly funny. Beau Is Afraid, as much of a tragedy as it is funny. You know, it is a funny movie. Funny things happen constantly. Yeah, sorry for derailing the chat. Let's see. Human life has no value if it doesn't benefit you somehow. Wait, I have no. Okay, here's. Oh, you're talking about the submarine. All right. Yes, I have seen Crisis Young. I have seen that. What? I recommend that to anyone who just wants to sit there and have your like mind fucked with. Go watch that show. Go watch Crisis Young. Oh, better days ahead. Oh, thank you, Silly Palm. Thank you for the donation. There will be an alert soon because the alert takes the super chat alert over on YouTube comes in significantly before the alert that shows up on the screen. Yeah, salute to Ari Aster. Can't wait to see what lies ahead. I hope so. He'll get to make another movie. Like, there's no way he doesn't get to make another movie. You know, even if this one didn't make money, someone's going to give him some amount of money to make something. Yeah, so the submarine thing, this is how I feel. The more I look into it, the more I am just of the opinion that, are you fucking kidding me? Everything about that said, don't do it. Everything. Everything said it was a horrible idea. Everything said that it wasn't going to work. And despite all the clear warnings that this was a terrible idea and that the worst was likely to happen, they did it anyway. It's like that line from the Titanic movie, which is, this ship can't sink. She's made of iron, sir. I assure you she can. But, like, they didn't even hit an iceberg. We didn't even have to get to, the iceberg was the ship. Is it going to get there? Nothing said that it was going to get there. Oh, but it made it there before. You rolled a 20. I am not taking 1 to 20 odds against. Are you kidding me? For a tourist jaunt. Like, if you're taking 1 to 20 odds because, like, you know people down there are alive and you got to go save them, okay, fair. Like, that's you know, that's going with the grace of God, you know, like, you know, and hope for the best. But there's no reason to take this trip. There was no reason to do it. There was no reason for it to be as risky as it was. And at every point, there is this go away. This one guy put it best. You could tell that none of these guys were gamers because they would have dropped out as soon as they saw that janky ass Logitech controller and gone, no way, that shit fucked me up on Street Fighter. I ain't trusting it. I can't that thing fucked me up on Mario Brothers and Crash Bandicoot. Fuck that. The fucking sub ran on Crash Bandicoot. You know, like, what the fuck? At that point, you're like, excuse me? I bet it was wireless too. You know, because why hardwire something to make sure it always works and it has the instant connection and response that you need? Yeah, the CEO straight up said in the past he thinks safety protocols are a waste of time. Well, clearly he was wrong. Like, that would have been my thing. I'm like, what? Wait. You're telling me safety precautions are a waste of time as we take a ship to see the Titanic? That whole thing is a red flag. That is a red flag made up of smaller red flags. That is a United States of red flags. That has "you're going to die of your own incompetence" written all over it. Because what were we doing? What were they doing? What was the point of this? Had there been some new breakthrough material that wasn't gonna that could survive greater pressures that we wanted to test? Was there some new design that they are like, dude, we're pretty sure with this new design we can fucking get down there easy peasy lemon squeezy? No, wasn't any of that. Nothing. There's a reason you don't put a giant window on a submarine. Which fucking brings us to another problem with the whole motherfucking thing. If only the pilot can see out, what's the point of bringing tourists along? Oh, they can operate these cameras on the side. Well, then just send a drone and have them fucking somewhere else. A camera on a drone can survive way greater pressures than a person in a tube. The teachable moment here is that was stupid. I hate to say it, but ridiculing them is the right thing for us to socially do because that's ridiculous. The reasonable thing for us to do is point out all the reasons that they should have known that this was a terrible idea so that we all know them. They exist as an example of human hubris. Because there's no part of this that they were forced into. This is all because they wanted to. All of it. 100%. Yeah, the port site wasn't even rated for depths they were attempting. It was going to fail one point or another. Yeah. Yeah. The thing just popped. Well, how come they haven't found the bodies? Probably because they were eaten by fish. Because everyone got turned into ground chuck in an instant. They probably didn't even have time to realize what had happened before they were splattered all over the place. They probably didn't even realize anything had gone wrong. Just 1 minute they were there, dead. Like that fucking quickly. Okay, point taken. I did make fun of the guy who built his own rocket to prove the Earth was flat. Exactly. Exactly. Like, you should, everything told, there is no excuse for not having known better. None. You know, these are not problems we do not know about. You know, it's like I was saying about like the problems with SpaceX, which is like, dude, why are you reinventing the wheel? Like, we know this shit. Like, we have launched rockets before quite successfully. Just to prove you could do it, you're not even the one designing it. You know, no, a lot of it. It's just rich guys trying to be impressive. You know, like I don't know how to say it. At least fucking Howard Hughes knew how to fly a plane. He went crazy over some other shit, but he could fly. You know, he was the aviator. What are you gonna do? In the words of Blade, some motherfuckers just gotta ice skate uphill. Yeah, didn't one of the rockets go boom on the launch pad? The SpaceX? Oh yeah, a bunch of them did. And I'm like, that's fine for the period of time when you're trying to figure out how to build the rocket in the first place. But we solved that so good, the Russians knew how to do it. There's no reason to do this extra shit. What is it you're trying to actually get done? And the only thing I could figure is that they just want to go to Mars because, or like they're trying to make the arc to escape the Earth. Well, if fucking you could make an arc to escape the Earth, we could fucking salvage the planet. We could salvage our environment. Duh, you fucking Nimrod. You know something that's actually possible that we know is possible because the Earth does it naturally. We just don't want it to have to take like thousands of years so that we don't die. Yeah, NASA and the Russian space project laid the groundwork for non-exploding rockets. Hell, look, China has a better track record than SpaceX. And their space program also started relatively recently. Turns out, if you want to make a ship that can escape the planet, that requires a lot of people doing their best. Their best. Like, think of it this way. NASA let the mathematics of a black woman be used because they were the best mathematics. Racist ass United States did that because they figured she was right. And she was. She was right. You know, and there wasn't just one of them either. One of the first great computer programmers we had, black woman. Her, had almost her entire career at NASA. And she started learning programming a little late in life. I think she was already in her 30s. Every reaction tuber I've seen who reacts to Blade is puzzled by that line. No, that line is clear as fucking day. Some motherfuckers just got to ice skate uphill. I thought that was pretty clear. I thought what you were saying is pretty clear. Some motherfuckers just have to do a thing that everyone knows is doomed to failure. You know, like. Yeah, yeah. Well, no, the billionaires are doomed to failure because I think it's a matter of money and technology. It's not. Don't get me wrong, it helps, but it's really a matter of human will and innovation because that's what it's always been. That's what always gets you to the next level. Always. Without fucking exception. How we have airplanes. The secret to heavier than air travel wasn't fucking cracked by a group of established engineers. And they were all trying. It was cracked by a couple of idiots who owned a bicycle shop. Because they believed that if birds could do it, the answer had to be low tech. Yeah, pissing in the wind. Yeah. Yeah, the thing that capitalism is supposed to be bringing us all the time. Well, yeah. Innovation's hard. Useful innovations are difficult. They're hard. You know, they're not easy. They're not safe. You're always going to be taking risks. And so it's always a matter of risk management. Risk management, man. Wright brothers knew they were only ever going to get so hurt because they knew the territory. That's why they used Kitty Hawk. It's like, well, this is the closest place we got with the most optimal conditions, and meh. So if someone gets hurt, they're not gonna It's not going to be too bad. It was only a bicycle ride away from them. And did they get injured? Boy, howdy. Yeah, most of our modern innovations come by way of military research. Yeah, yeah, but it's military researchers who are using those principles. Like they still did crazy shit. They did crazy shit all the time. But they had a huge body of institutional knowledge to fall back on for when things went wrong. Like, imagine one of these motherfuckers making a nuclear power plant. Oh, actually, you don't have to. It's called every nuclear power plant where something went horribly, horribly wrong. You know? Yeah, Velcro, microwaves, computers, personal computers, cell phone tech, space program. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like they had found something that had worked and private industry built on it. You know, because private industry was focused on the consumer level. I'd be in the Milty's R&D, say something like, stupid guys, let's make a mech. Oh, you wouldn't be the first one. They've tried. They've done it. Why do you think there are all those robots? They can just afford to keep failing until they figure it out. You know? Fukushima is one of the most upsetting because the problem was extremely obvious. It was location. We're going to put this nuclear power plant right near to a fault line? Are you fucking insane? Like that was asking for trouble. You know? Functional Gundams, but yeah. Yeah, Chernobyl had the additional problem of the realities of doing anything in the USSR. It's one of the things that broke confidence in it. Because not only did they not prevent the disaster, they completely mismanaged the disaster and made it worse. And then they lied about it. But they didn't understand that it was a disaster so big that people in America noticed. Like, before the news got out. They knew it had happened. And the Americans knew it wasn't one of their nuclear power plants because they checked immediately. All right, Josh, you take care. No, Chernobyl could have totally been avoided. It could have totally been avoided. You know, it could have been completely avoided. If they had followed safety regulations, it wouldn't even have been possible. And that's one of the things that makes me mad about Chernobyl. If you had just not done this, if the rods had just not been made cheaply, because all the physicists were correct, it shouldn't have been possible. But what they failed to account for was the fact that someone would get cheap on the deal. You know, that fucking HBO fucking show said it all. Why did it happen? Because it's cheaper. Boom. Russia hurt the image of nuclear energy. Well, it proved that all the negative images were right. Yeah, they used cheap rods. Yeah, that's what caused it. Had the rods been made out of the pure material that they were supposed to have been made, it would have been impossible to have that chain reaction. But they weren't. Well, here's the thing about Reagan and the fall of the Iron Curtain. Did Chernobyl have something to do with it? Oh yeah. You know, did Reagan have something to do with it? Oh yes. Did birthmark Gorbachev? Did Gorbachev help bring it down? Absolutely, they all did. You know, a lot of Americans, Democrats don't tend to give Reagan enough credit on that, and Republicans don't tend to give Gorbachev enough credit. Like, no, for real. Like, that was one good thing that Reagan did. It don't get him off the hook for all the other shit. But I got to give it to him. That one I'll give to him. He did the right thing there. You know, and so did Gorbachev. Yeah, and Chernobyl was a massive break in that wall because it had undermined confidence in the Soviet Union itself. You know, which, to be fair, was already kind of, you know, we in America didn't understand how tenuous it was, but like it wasn't going. You know, in hindsight, we're like, oh, yeah, things weren't going well already. Yeah, the veil was lifted over the Soviet citizens, yeah, in a way they couldn't ignore. Yeah, absolutely. You know, they couldn't argue with the incompetencies of their own government. I mean, hell, look what's happened in America because Trump was president. It's the exact same thing. You know, it's just that we can pin it on one guy rather than the entire system. Is the entire system at fault? Yeah, kind of. It has its fault. It has its fault in this. You know, which was why there are all these attempts to repair it right now through legislation, but because it's a governmental system, that's the only way you can do it. You know, you know, things are bad, and so when I say to my fellow Americans, when it comes to the primary elections, absolutely vote and campaign for who you want. Absolutely 100% every time. But when it comes to the general, yeah, that's when we got to start making calculations. That's when we have to start making like more mature calculations, because then it is about, it can't, then at that point it can be about damage control. You know, and that's a lesson I wish I had learned a little bit harder. In my youth. I wish I had learned that a little bit harder in my youth, but I know it now. You know, when they traded a bunch of naval ships for a trade deal with Pepsi. Yeah. Yeah, although if you want to understand trade, if you want to understand international trade, the deal between, I forget which company it was, but there was a deal made between, I believe, Coke and a Russian distiller of vodka. But I forget which company it is. It was one of the big ones. Like I can't remember. It was like Grey Goose or Stoli, or I actually don't know. You know, but it was an actual Russian vodka distillery that Coke made a deal with to exchange those products liter per liter. And Coke made out like a bandit. They were able to get like a really big market. They were able to like get a lot of market domination through that deal, because the vodka sells for so much more in America. So they're able to get like the cash, you know? Yeah, it's really interesting. Chernobyl will never be livable again. Yeah, not for a while. It'll always be bad. It'll be bad for a good long time. You know. Well, here's the thing: animals and plants have returned to Pripyat. They have returned to the Chernobyl area. Yeah, it turns out life is more resilient than people give it credit for. I think like the gray, was it the gray wolf population, or no? I think that's specifically a North American species. But the wolf population of the area has fucking returned because all the humans disappeared from that area because of the radiation. Now, are there still mutations and tumors and things like that? Yeah, yeah, there are. But it's not as bad as you imagine by a long shot. It's still bad, you know, but it's not. Point is it didn't destroy all life. Fuck. It didn't even destroy all current life. But it's still awful. Yeah. This is why I'm not worried about the planet. I'm worried about our livable environment. And I know that that's kind of like, potato, but I think it's an important distinction because the environment has ways of healing itself. It's doing it now. The human hubris comes in and thinking that it understands every detail of it, because we don't. We don't. Nature will always surprise us. Life and nature will always, life finds a way, it finds a way. Are there mutants living in Chernobyl like smart animals? Well, it depends on what you mean by smart animals, but as smart as they ever were. Yeah, the wildlife seems to be doing all right. I think their life expectancy is cut a bit short, but it's continuing. Yeah. Well, hey, Kira, let's be real honest. Fucking Blue Oyster Cult got it. History shows again and again, and nature points out the folly of men. Godzilla. Never were more truer words spoken or sung. Holy shit. End of humanity? I don't even know about the end of humanity. I don't even know about that. I don't even know about that, to be totally fair, to be totally honest. I think humanity has tricks up its sleeve that it hasn't even, has aces up its sleeve it hasn't even shown. I truly do believe that. My worry is how much damage will be done in the meantime. It's always how much damage will be done in the meantime. That's what it always is for me. Life finds a way. Yeah. Yeah, no, I do believe that. You know, which is why I'm far more like worried about the way we treat each other. I worry far more about how human beings treat other human beings. Because that seems to be what causes all the trouble. Smart animals that come to mind is like squirrels and sparrows with faulty GPS, constantly updating pop-up ads. Must download nut gathering patch. Oh my god. That would be pretty funny. What was a game I wish was a little more fun. I thought it would be really fun, but it wasn't as fun as I was hoping for. It was Horizon Zero Dawn. I felt like that the cutscenes went on for too long. Like that dialogue need to be really tight. That dialogue and that exposition need to be really tightened up because it just took too fucking long. You know, it was like, no, I want to go back to that. Stop that. I want to go back to hunt dinosaur robots. Come on, like. Well, in the first one, I thought they were too long. In the second one, I haven't played the second one because I was like, I thought the first one like. Here's the thing. I didn't mind the plot, but the story to me was kind of weak. The storytelling was a little weak, you know. Now there's some standout moments, but like, come on, man. I thought this game was going to be about hunting dinosaur robots for their parts and making shit out of those parts. And it is, but so much of the experience is like, oh my God, please get on with it. The thing that worked about the original BioShock was that those bits didn't take too long. I thought they got a little too long with BioShock Infinite. You know, it's like, no, you're having to explain too much. You know, like, this is taking a little too long. You know, that's why BioShock Infinite doesn't have the punch of the original BioShock. It's not that the elements aren't there. It's that it's not it wasn't a tightened up experience, and it needed to be. It should have been. But instead they kind of went the Metal Gear Solid 2 direction where it was like, "Oh my God, stop talking." I get it. You know, and the fact that there were a lot of moments that felt like cut time scenes, the quick time events, and you just like, I don't mind a good quick time event, but like, it was just taking too long. Yeah, I hate long cutscenes. Yeah, the unskip. Oh yeah, exactly. Because like, I like a good. Don't get me wrong. I love a good story. I love story, and I'm very interested in the story that's unfolding. I'm super interested in that shit. But at some point, it became too much. You know, and those aren't even the most egregious examples. Like, I think the most egregious example is some of the Final Fantasy games. Like, what was it? 15 and what Final Fantasy are we up to? Not including the online one. Da, 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 da. Main franchise. No, I just need a list. Just give me the list. How is there not a list? Oh, okay, here we go. Final Fantasy and film and television. No, I'm not even talking about that shit. Here we go. All right. So let's see. We had Final Fantasy X, which was a good plot poorly told, in my opinion. Then you have 12, which was fine. Like that was okay. 13 is when we start going off the rails. Like truly off the rails. Ironically, because they put you on a rail. Where you're just sort of like, oh my fucking God. Like, can I play the game? Yeah, then Final Fantasy 15 and later on like 16 is coming out, so we'll see. Oh, that's coming out in a few days. Wait. It released today on PlayStation 5 as a timed exclusive. Oh, fuck you. So I don't know what Final Fantasy 16 is like, but like that fucking 13 and 15 were just fucking intolerable. Like in terms of like the way it did its exposition, where you're just sort of like, oh my fucking God, dude, come on, please. Yeah. Yeah, the first bit of gameplay and Final Fantasy is pushing the car. Yeah. Yeah. It feels like it should have been like, nah, guys, you push the car. I'm gonna run around and hit robot and hit monsters. You know, like this is the tutorial. Nice mega cleavage. 16 is going for Game of Thrones with kaiju fights. And none of the non-white folk. Oh dear, that's not encouraging. Yeah, that doesn't sound encouraging. Yeah, so I'm just gonna. I'm just gonna say it. I think they needed to go back to turn-based combat. Yakuza proved that it was a good idea. Hey, we can just do this again. You know? Yeah, not everything needs to be like immediate action, you know? One chick, she had eye makeup. Final Fantasy VIII. I don't remember there being a lot of cleavage in Final Fantasy VIII. Well, like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like they should have made it a little more, you know, like, look, the player experience is really important when you're doing. I don't remember Ida being particularly like chesty, you know. I mean, when I think of chesty like Final Fantasy characters, there's really only Tifa and Lulu. And Lulu's in 10. You know, so like, yeah, I'm not sure what that's about. Ah, Lulu. Oh no, I was super into Lulu. Like big titty. She's the original big titty goth chick. You know, as far as like video game world was concerned. I believe there was actually a comic that coined the phrase "big big titty goth girl" based on Lulu. Actually, it's like some sort of web comic. No, Ultimacia. I guess. Yeah, she did. She did show a lot of cleavage. She had like one of those dresses that went all the way down past her navel and practically to her vagina. The biggest problem I had with her was she's kind of a non-nothing villain. She's like, I'm the villain who's doing everything. You're like, awesome. Why? Because I'm going to compress time. What will that do? Something. All right. Could you let us in on what that thing is? Because I need to know what the stakes are here. I'd really like to know what the stakes are. Hey, Motor-chan. Down to Kate's bush? Yep. A Dale, on the other hand, was creepy. Who's a Dale? Oh, like the intersex transsexual one? Who had like Renoa strapped to his chest? Yeah, that was a little weird. I mean, no weirder than some of the shit Final Fantasy had already done by that point. You know, Final Fantasy had always had like intersex or, gender non-binary characters. Yeah, go back and check. Yeah, really bored of Final Fantasy VIII? Oh yeah, I fucking no, I completed that shit. There has not been a Final Fantasy game that I have played that I haven't finished. Yeah, unless you count like the online ones, which technically have no ending. So, um, but and the reason I know so much of the stuff that happens in the other Final Fantasy games is just watching like live plays and gameplay footage of it, where it's like, oh my fucking god, get on with it, you know. You know, there's just a point at which you're like, all right, I'm gonna need you to stop and get on with the goddamn motherfucking game. This has gone on too long, and I don't know what you're talking about. Cloud address in the remake. Yes, I know. I'm killing it. Yeah. Hey, yeah. I mean, come on, man. Gender fuckery is a tried and true tradition in that their Final Fantasy. They have to grind to beat Emerald/Ruby weapon. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Final Fantasy full of that shit. It should be. All right. I think it's I've been on for like 3 hours. I think I should maybe time to sign off. I had a great time hanging out with you guys. If you want to donate to help the stream, please do. Of course, we've got the super chat, but we also have the Patreon that you can use. And if you need a link, there it is right there. So until next time, like Ave Satanas, Disco Inferno. Remember, Satan and I love you all very much. Thumbs up. Thank you, Valsatan. Yeah, give a thumbs up, subscribe, all that jazz. And y'all have a good night.